This issue has one of my favorite moments in Scooby-Doo history. It's Scooby-Doo meets Infinity War.
You're as resolute as ever.
And it explodes with them in the room.
What?
I don't know how I want to start these. Like, let's just start it like we're not even going to do it. Like we're not even doing a video. I just got a call with you.
Okay, so the casual.
Yeah. Hello, Phil.
Hello. Hey.
May I call you Phil?
You may. Yeah, you don't have to call me Tulok like your wife does.
You are as Tulok in my phone as well. So when I text you, it says
Oh my
Tulok.
God, really?
Yeah.
I was in your wedding.
I have something I want to show you. Last time we were on a call like this, you showed me some fun AI trailers. Hold on. I can't believe Warner Brothers would miss that typo.
Fun?
You showed me some AI trailers. I thought it would be my turn now to show you something that will change your life the same way that Davy Jones changed my life and all of our lives.
I'm curious, terrified. Everyone's lives are going to be changed, including you out there. Hi, we're going to have a lot of fun today. But you know what else is fun? Talking about today's sponsor, and then there's the segue. My sponsors are at the ends of videos. So first I want to hit you with a couple questions. Shoot, yeah.
Okay.
I'm an open book.
Are you familiar with Scooby-Doo?
Yes.
You can see my screen, I imagine. You saw the Scooby-Doo animated.
Yes, I saw Scooby-Doo.
Okay, I just want to do it again because you didn't like react in a cool way, and I thought that was really cool. So let me just try it again.
Got it. Okay, sorry. I've never seen Scooby do that.
Are you familiar with Infinity War?
Yes.
From Avengers.
It's like Crisis on Infinite Earths with Grimace.
That is an interesting way to describe it and accurate way to describe it.
Secret Wars. That's Secret Wars. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Fake fan.
These two, would you believe it if I told you there was a story out there, Phil, if I can still call you Phil, that combines Scooby-Doo and Marvel's Avengers Infinity War?
What is it?
I would doubt that, actually.
You would doubt it?
I would doubt it.
Well, you're a fool.
Vine boom for that.
Vine boom for that one. We're just going to make sure that Cade knows all the sound effects to put in there.
I was saying that for the audience watching the video.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Imagine the sound effects in your head.
It's the Vine boom.
Well, there is a story that combines these two, and I didn't know anything about it until it showed up randomly on my Twitter feed one time, and it's so absolutely bonkers and cool. It is called, oops, I forgot to make sure that you were here, Scooby-Doo, The Dragon's Eye. Ooh. Based off of the DC logo, you can tell that it was either a while ago or currently, I think, because they have...
That is time.
Yeah.
It either happened before or it happened now.
This is a comic book in the style of, as you can see, just old school Hanna-Barbera type Scooby-Doo. Yeah. But it was put on a list of like Scooby-Doo stories that are like more serious, like maybe like for mature audiences. I wouldn't say it's mature in the sense of like Velma and how that's very mature and cool and gritty.
I'm not just a waitress. I'm also
a basic bitch who doesn't even know how to use hashtags.
Have we ever talked about Velma? Has anyone talked about the Velma show? That might be a good video.
Two handsome fellows did talk about the Velma show before, and you can watch those episodes on Nebula if this video is sponsored by Nebula. Who knows? Good news it is, but more about that later. Yeah, so I wouldn't necessarily call this comic book like mature in that sort of sense. Mm-hmm. But it is an interesting story, and let's just get into it. If you're not familiar with how these comic books usually go, have you ever read a Scooby-Doo comic from this sort of era, DC?
No.
So the way that they work is that there are two stories in one. So like half the comic is one story and then it ends, and then half the comic is the other story and it ends. So in that regard, they're not very satisfying because you don't get like 3 suspects. You get like 1 suspect and they did it. It's like Knives Out where you know, it's like Glass Onion where you know who did it. You're gonna understand why this is, related to Scooby-Doo. Well, you know why it's related to Scooby-Doo.
I think it's the dog that's on the cover. Eagle-eyed viewers will notice that dog on the cover.
So we open on the gang in Paris. This is a globe-spanning story, and I think that's what makes it very fun in relating to Infinity War. It's like you're going to all these different cool places with the gang, so that's part of it. Velma gets invited, well, they all do, to a party. Pretty basic setup, I think, for Mystery Inc. Yep.
Hi, Phil, longtime fan, first-time caller.
Okay.
Do they drive the Mystery Machine to all these locations in a sort of submarine/airplane conversion?
Phil, I think you've opened my mind to something, which is that I don't think the Mystery Machine is even in this story. Classic Scooby-Doo fare. Shaggy, Scooby eating up that buffet, yum yum yum, gobble it up. Shaggy's checking out himself in the window. Boom! Gargoyle. Big, scary. Thundercrack. It's good stuff.
Vine boom.
We know there's some sort of monster at this party. What do we think this monster wants? Well, if you pay attention very subtly, they've got oops. If you pay attention very subtly, this lady here is wearing a very shiny necklace. This necklace is very important. Gargoyle comes in. Boom. The gargoyle has stolen the stone from her necklace. Gargoyle's running out of this party in this stormy weather. Fred's like, I'm gonna stop this gargoyle. He runs out there, and this gargoyle is cheeked up.
Nice.
Hella ass
on a
Wednesday.
This gargoyle.
It's Wednesday when we're recording this.
Fred gets this gargoyle. I don't know if you can tell here. Fred is very upset because the gargoyle does not have the stone anymore. Gotta find these. I gotta find it. The mystery isn't really solved, and we've got this mysterious hand putting the stone in some sort of case. Boom. Next issue. Well, just kidding.
Whoa! Sorry, can we back it up to the last panel?
Yeah.
Because that top center panel, that's me when I saw that gargoyle's cake.
You went sploosh and splat.
Well, maybe later. Don't know how much of this is making the edit. Hi if it did.
Everyone's like, whoa, thinking about like, whoa, this jewel, what happened? We're in Moscow now.
But I'm assuming it's Moscow like several years ago when this comic came out. When like we were tense with Russia, but not quite like, let's not go to Russia.
There's a lot of, you'll find that there are a lot of things in this story that maybe are very interesting in hindsight.
Do we know when this came out? It came out in February of 2020. The scene where everyone says, let's open mouth kiss each other, aged very poorly.
Super poorly. This comic book came out in August of 2002. So
okay,
20, I was gonna say 12 years ago. Jesus, 22 years ago.
This comic can drink, Scott.
Jesus. This comic, like that gargoyle, can fuck. It absolutely can.
22, prefrontal cortex. That's when it's finished cooking, right?
Yeah.
It's not even problematic.
No.
It is problematic.
It is problematic.
Like, let's be honest. But what if the comic just likes banging old dudes?
I don't, Yeah, I'm gonna let you continue on this train of thought. Hey, look at this. Similar green jewels. Unlike the Infinity Stone, these are all the same color.
Okay, that makes them easier to find.
You'll find that it's hard to keep track of why Mystery Inc. is where they are. I mean, that's just par for the course for the show even, right? They're just like, and now they're here. They have this big, fancy egg.
Is that a Fabergé egg?
Sure. And they're like, whoa, look at these stones. These stones are interesting. They look like the ones that we saw before, which is why someone's gonna steal them again. Whoa! Baba Yaga!
Is she flying around in a mortar and pestle?
Correct. That rips. I believe that is the folklore, the myth of the Baba Yaga. Flies around on a mortar and pestle.
Is that why in the Witch? Sorry, spoilers for the Witch, and also like tonally a bit of a shift. Have you seen the Witch?
No.
Oh.
Witch steals egg. They fly out of this fountain. You know, some guy is taking a photograph. You know, Witch sort of bumps into him and oof, you know, gosh. Thanks to Scooby, they managed to, you know, that scoundrel little Scoob boy, they managed to take the Witch down. Meddling kids would have gotten away with it if it were from meddling kids. They unmask Witch. Someone, doesn't matter who. It is a Fabergé egg, you got it exactly right. But hey, look, there's no gems on it. Where did the gems go? If you look, Phil, the gems are being dumped out of an old camera. So remember this guy.
That guy was taking a picture.
This guy was taking a picture, got bumped into the witch, the Baba Yaga, switched it out. All right, so we got a guy stealing gems in the background. What's happening? Velma says, I wish I had all the answers to this. What's happening here? Let me lay the scene for you. Tell you about these gems, this gem. It's actually one gem, just pieces of it. Over 1,000 years ago, a mysterious glowing green stone was unearthed in China. When the stone was presented to the emperor, he named it the Dragon's Eye. The Dragon's Eye was said to contain great power to defeat armies or overturn an empire. Fearing that its power might fall into the wrong hands, the emperor cut the stone into 7 interlocking stones. These 7 smaller stones he distributed amongst his 7 sons. Over the centuries, the stones were sold off, traded, or stolen from the sons, and have passed through many hands since. And that's sort of where we're at now. That's why they're scattered all over the world. What do you think is gonna happen?
I think they better go get those other stones. How many were in the egg?
The egg is
5?
Nope, sorry. The egg is 1.
The egg is 1 split into fifths.
Into fifths.
So there are 7. Wait, no.
No, you got it right.
It flips it twice.
Yeah.
There are 7.
There are 7.
And then 1 of those 7 was split into 5. Which means that there are 11?
There are 11 currently. Yes, that you are aware of.
Until we find out that others have also been split.
Someone, presumably, is gathering these all together to recreate the Dragon's Eye. So they're all either in private hands or museum collections scattered across all these other countries. And Fred says, we're going to Italy. Oh, I forgot to do this part too. One second. It's Scooby-Doo meets Infinity War. I am inevitable.
Oh, that's cool.
No, God! So they're going to Italy, baby. But not before. Fred also is on a dating show. But we don't have time to get into that story.
If you smash that like button, we will talk about when Fred was on a dating show.
If you smash that like button, that's a thumbs up. I'm trying. If you smash that like...
This actually does bring up a question.
Yep.
Fred and Daphne dating? Polly?
We don't have time to get into the dating comic book, but in the dating comic book... But we don't have time to get into it. They're in Rome, Italy, and they're at a museum. Whoa, look. Ooh, cool. I do like some of the art in these comic books, I will say. They're very fun.
These are great villains of the week.
And they're looking for this gem, and they're like, so now they have a lead. We're looking for all these other gems now. We know kind of where they all are, and they're like, someone actually tried to steal this the other day, so it's actually not on display anymore. And they're like, okay, cool. It's a good thing that someone tried to steal it and failed. That's good. You got it safe. But let's go inspect it anyway.
It's already gone.
The head guy of the museum president,
curator,
is there, and he's like,
curator,
come with me. Don't use smart words to be Phil. Don't make me look dumb, Phil. The painting comes to life and steals the security guard and grabs his butt. Then they find a mysterious janitor, and they're like, wait, this isn't the same janitor we saw before, I think. So they start trying to speak Italian to the janitor because they're in Italy, and the janitor does not know Italian.
Fred speaks Italian and Chinese?
Fred does speak Italian and Chinese, apparently, and also English. Oh yeah, so basically they're like looking for the stone. They go back into the room and they're like, actually, it's gone. Shaggy and Scooby, we don't actually see them find the stone. We just see them running into the frame, being like, hey, I found it. The ghost of this painting is like, well, give me that stone. And a chase ensues. Classic Scooby-Doo chase ensues. As the ghost is running past this janitor, bloop, something plops in that janitor's like bucket. So they catch this ghost. Just some guy, we don't care. But hey, look, another mysterious man putting a gem inside of a case.
We're getting a little more information about him every time.
He's aware of Mystery Inc. now. He says only 4 stones left, but those meddling kids are making things more difficult. I'll have to take care of them once and for all in Damascus. And so in this one, we have a guy who invents invisible technology, but we're not getting into it because that's the first half of the comic book. This one's at another museum, I believe. So this is another necklace. This is multiple, big chunk this time.
A lot of them put it on a necklace.
Whoops, stolen. We're immediately in the thick of it now.
Good monster.
Great monster
Good
design,
monsters.
right? This issue has one of my favorite moments in Scooby-Doo history in it. But here's the thing. The museum has other issues that they're dealing with. They're like, yeah, the monster stole the necklace, but we also have protests going on outside because, would you believe it? Some people think it's wrong to steal artifacts from different countries and take them to a different country's museum. And people are upset about that. And that's weird.
Well, I'm looking, has that ever happened?
This is the thing about the fiction of Scooby-Doo. Sometimes...
That's so interesting. What a concept.
What a concept. They're like, well, let's throw something at you here. What if some country stole artifacts from other countries and put them in a museum? Yeah. That would be weird, right? And we wouldn't do that.
Weird.
And if we did do that, we would be the good guys?
Well, I mean, you're preserving the culture. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't put all of your culture not in the British Museum.
Fred is like, hey, have you seen like an Asian guy around? Because he kind of gets this vibe that he's like, we saw the janitor. The janitor was some sort of Asian guy. So Fred's like, have you seen an Asian man? They've been seeing a spooky guy hanging around with a camera and things like that. So they give Fred his business card. Yes, I see a hand.
Hi. So they've seen a spooky guy hanging around with a camera at a museum. Mm-hmm. Hear me out, Scott. Pretty normal?
Is photography allowed?
I happen to remember a certain Sam Raimi Spider-Man film in which Peter Parker was taking pictures at the museum. But that was filmed before 9/11, and this came out after. Everything changed then. So maybe no cameras at museums. Am I the proper guess that you wanted for this, Scott?
He was by himself.
By himself.
Didn't have a
friend.
Sorry,
that was my second question, though. Yeah. He left his business card?
So they get this business card, and they're like, cool, we've got a lead now on this guy. Meanwhile, Daphne and Velma are doing something different. They're in Italy. Not important. Fred, Shaggy, and Scooby are now investigating where this lead that they've got. And they see the monster. But it's just the costume, I think. And in doing so, an evil jigsaw message starts playing.
Hello, Mr. Inc. You are as resolute as ever. I, as you can see, am even more resourceful, having anticipated your entry from the balcony.
Just sniff, sniff, sniff. That's interesting. Oh, it smells a little funny in here. That's interesting. It smells funny.
That's not what he said, Scott.
Sorry, it rolls runny. What could it be, Phil? What do you think it is?
Emeralds.
Interesting. Because what he actually smells is a bomb.
Fine boom.
He smells a rom.
What?
Ruby Rail's a rom.
What does a bomb smell like?
It smells like explosion.
Okay, I briefly mentioned that this came out in 2002 before, but like in Damascus in 2002, they're like, yeah, Scooby smells a bomb.
And it explodes with them in the room.
Also, I want to point out, Daphne and Velma were like, we want a few more days in Italy together.
Suspicious.
To do mystery stuff.
You guys investigate that hotel room. And they die. Or do they? They jump, as you can see, last moment, Scooby grabs them and they land in the hotel pool and they're safe. Rit was roughing.
Scott, this is great. Are comics always this good?
I think so. Someone should make videos about them.
What are you looking at me for?
Okay, back to they're looking at a map of like where they want to go to dinner.
They're like doing something totally different.
They've been together for a couple of years now. Like they've been planning this trip for a while, but they didn't want to plan it too much.
I mean, when in Rome. So this is sort of the puzzle pieces, as you can see. Even though there are 5 pieces, the second piece is split up into 6 pieces. And then all the other ones are just sort of one piece, it looks like.
One Piece?
What is One Piece about? And make it brief, please.
Pirates.
Oh, great. All right, now they're in India. There's a temple. They're doing their classic, I guess like a white knight sort of situation where it's just sort of like, or like a white savior sort of situation where they're coming in and being like, this temple that we're not even allowed to know where this temple is. We sort of figured it out in a different way, even though we are not allowed in. We found our way in, and now we're going to, for the good, it's like a museum. For the good of your people, we,
Sure.
Mystery Inc., are going to take this artifact from you. Turns out that all these cool monsters are not actually trying to steal it. They are the people there protecting it, and Fred getting in the way actually led to them being distracted, and someone came in and stole it while they were doing that. But hey, whoever stole it, they're running out of the temple just right now, and good thing Shaggy and Scooby are there to stop them. We should probably check on them.
That looks pretty cool.
Critch, critch. Boop, they accidentally get scared and they take a photo of this guy. This is the guy at the center of our mystery. He's trying to get away. This is the most we've seen of this guy.
Troop. Yank. Chuff.
Whirr. Grab.
I think it usually goes the other direction.
Elephant's got him, but he puts pepper in the elephant's nose and he gets away. But they've got a photo of this guy. This is good. Well, we just gotta find out who he is. Now they're in Tokyo, Japan. So here's the photo they got of this guy. They're like, oh, here's the man stealing all the gemstones. What's his story? Only a couple pieces left, says Velma. But hey, this guy in Japan is like, you know what? I know there's only 2 pieces left. One of them is in China. I feel like that one's gonna be guarded pretty well. We have one here in Japan. It's guarded pretty well also. But just to put your mind at ease, we will take you to where it is being hidden. Why do they keep letting Mystery Inc. go to the places to see the gems?
I know we as the audience know they're not in on it, but if I were the curator of a museum, perhaps I'd be like, they're doing it. Everywhere they go, these get stolen.
Your suspicions will only raise in this issue. Let's go to the boat. Whoa. This boat, that's the fancy boat. That's the boat that we're supposed to go to, right? Isn't that the boat where the famous rich guy who owns the gem is? Because it's not on that boat, it's on this one. A fishing boat that looks less suspicious. It's Ocean's 12 all over again. Oh, you think we're transporting it by a very secure way that thieves are gonna recognize? Nope, we're gonna transport it secretly in a very insecure way, and we've stolen it this whole time.
How recently did you watch Ocean's 12?
Like 10 years ago. Surely this is secure. Monster attacks. Fred's like, don't worry about it, old man protecting the gem. You stay here and we'll go fight this monster. And they do, and Shaggy and Scooby defeat the monster, and Fred's like, that's awesome. The gem is safe, right? And this old guy's like, no. And Fred, again, taking this whole mystery very seriously. We'll get to the heart of the dragon's eye in China.
If we need a plot for the next live-action Scooby-Doo movie, this is great.
This is
great.
good, right? It's multiple monsters.
They figure out.
This is what I'm saying.
I think it'd be funny if one time they were like, yeah, there's this ancient thing, and if you assemble all the pieces from like 1,000 years ago, it has untold power. And then it just like makes like a gun. Because like 2,000 years ago, if you had like a god, like
It's pretty good.
what was it like? I think the Egyptians were like, we built the chariot, and this is the ultimate tool of war. Nothing will ever surpass this. And it's like, dog, you weren't
did it.
even close.
They're in China now. Last gem piece, all right? And this time, you won't believe it, but this time they're like, hey, it's secure. I know that we've been saying that.
That's a huge relief.
But this one's pretty secure. And then a monster attacks.
Oh no! Anyway,
Throughout all this commotion, the guy with the box, with the gem in it, is like, yikes, you know, obviously. But Fred is there. You know Fred, he's been trying to, do this whole charge to solve this mystery.
I'm familiar with his game.
Let me just have this gem piece so that I can securely hold on to it. Trust me, Fred Jones. Where are my friends? Don't worry about it. Trust me. The museum guy's like, yeah, sure, Fred. I see a hand.
That's not Fred Jones.
The guy turns around, boom, Mystery Inc. What? But Fred is there, but then there's this, but who is that? And then, but I thought what? Boom.
The Fred mask looks horrifying.
It's truly upsetting. Now, this guy has all of the gem pieces. What's he gonna do with it? We'll find out when this story concludes in Scooby-Doo number 66, the conclusion of Scooby-Doo, the Dragon's Eye.
I think it needs 3 more issues, Scott.
You're gonna be upset because it actually gets only half an issue, because first we have to deal with this plot line about a dummy that comes to life, I think, but it's
Horrifying.
We're in Hong Kong. They've got this hammer, right? So this guy, they sort of figured out who he is. They're in his apartment and they're like, oh, he must have all these, he's got all these geologist tools or whatever. Fred's like, I'll hang on to this, you never know. But they're trying to pinpoint where he might be, and they figure it's gotta be right here. We are going to finally put a stop to this guy's plans.
I don't know what the plans are, but I'm glad.
I mean, it's like you get power and then you can do stuff with it.
Like Zoink Scoob, he's gonna use it to disrupt the flow of commerce.
Presumably what this gem does is it summons a mystical, like, ghost army that can help you take over the world.
I've seen Return to the King. Ghost armies are great.
That's how they stole the egg in Ocean's 12, Ghost Army. So they're at this place now, and Shaggy and Scooby are like, ghosts, Ghost Army. But nope, not really there. Trick of the mind. Or is it? More Ghost Army people start showing up, and our guy, he's gonna finally assemble the piece together, which is interesting because you're like, hasn't he already done that? If the Ghost Army is around already, hasn't he already? Ghost Army's here and he's got him here. Hasn't he already assembled
all of them together in like a similar geographical place?
Yes.
And RSVP goes out to everyone from the Ghost Army so that they can be prepared
to be summoned. He's taunting him. Classic villain monologue. I almost had to work hard to obtain the last few components. Now I have the entire jewel. You know what that means, don't you? I win. And it's like, you must know the desert, has swallowed all these ancient warriors, and I can summon them back with this big, with this cool, powerful stone, and then I can make China powerful again, and then we'll conquer all the rest of the world. I see a hand.
Are they going to use Scooby-Doo's powers from a pup named Scooby-Doo's intro, where he eats the Scooby snack and turns into a missile?
Rockets away.
I was thinking hits this guy.
Oh!
Because we know that, like, explosions and trying to murder is now in the ballpark of Scooby-Doo.
Bomb. Yeah, and that's what makes the story cool and mature, like Velma.
Yeah, like, because there's blood and they said the fuck word.
Yeah, maybe Scooby just rockets towards him and says, fuck. I like your plan better, but basically what happens is Fred says, like, hey, Scooby, I got Scooby snacks. If you chew through my ropes, I'll give you a Scooby snack. I don't know that Scooby would need to be convinced to save them all, but...
Yeah, we won't die. How about that, Scoob?
This guy, right, big bad villain about to assemble the gem, the Dragon's Eye, when suddenly the storm's brewing. It's like Indiana Jones, like the weather is going. Velma and Daphne are like, there shouldn't be a storm happening. at this time, at this place. Like, this is very unusual. So it seems like there is some sort of real mystical, magical stuff happening. They get untied and Fred pulls out the hammer. He runs over, and right before he's about to connect the final pieces of the gem together, Fred takes it. Grab.
That's the second time grab has been a sound effect.
Grab! Fred runs off with it. Yay, Freddy! People are cheering. Fred gets cornered, and he has no choice but to hand the gem back over. And he clicks the gem into place. The power of the dragon's eye.
He is inevitable.
People are like, whoa, nothing really happened. Shaggy and Scooby's like, nothing really happened. Uh-oh. Boom! Who would dare use the power of the dragon's eye for ill intent? Whoa! Big ghost comes around, saying, you are the foolish one, Li Shu-shan. You don't... then he's like, he tells his army of like, don't just stand there, get the ghost, but it's a real ghost, we can't run! So that's how you know the actual ghosts were just hired people made to look like ghosts, so they weren't real ghosts that time. The stone was not meant for the likes of you. I've come not to give you power, but to punish you for your crimes. As he's running away, Fred tackles him. Boom! Fred gets the final hit off of this guy, this mystery that's been driving him nuts this whole time. As it turns out, the ghost that we just saw wasn't real either. The big evil one that didn't like Li Shu-shan. He was working for them, the world government.
The one world government, the globalists.
And the friggin' frogs game.
Hello, my baby.
They got the gem back, but why didn't it work? Fred reveals that while he was being cornered, he chipped off a little piece. So the gemstone was never complete. Yeah, see a hand?
I love that. I love when Scooby-Doo does this thing where they're like, it is allowed for the supernatural to exist.
Yes.
But it's also allowed for it not to, because now ending this, if I am in the Scooby-Doo does not get supernatural camp, I can be like, yeah, nothing would have happened because magic isn't real.
Right.
But if I am in the Scoob is supernatural realm, I can be like, no, Fred chipped the piece away. It lets it have it both ways.
Exactly.
And I like that.
Was that storm brewing because there was mystical energy, or was it just because sometimes storms do happen? You're exactly right, because that is the conversation that this gang has at the end of this story. And they're like, what would have happened? We'll never know. There are actual skeletons of these ancient warriors. Would they have come to life? Who knows? We'll never know.
And also, Ruby.
And that is the story of Scooby-Doo, the Dragon's Eye.
Rips. It rips.
Did we really
Frankly,
record for an hour and a half?
Yeah, of course we did. You know us.
Oh, okay. Okay, I gotta be honest with you all. I am very ill, just suddenly, and this is the ad portion of the video, so I want you to know that if you click off right now, you are actively harming a sick person. Pretty fucked up. Anyway, just like this comic book brought together magical gems from around the Scooby world, my streaming service Nebula brings together some of the best creators on the internet. Nebula gives creators like me the freedom to experiment with new video types like the one you watched just now. I thought it was fun. I hope you liked it. We're planning on doing more of these. On Nebula, you'll find ad-free versions of my videos and exclusive content that I don't post here to YouTube. Like the times that Phil and I reacted to a couple episodes from the HBO Velma show.
Maybe solving mysteries with dogs is a mistake.
Do you get good stuff? Plus, there are Nebula originals from creators that you love just in time for the spooky season, like Dracula's ex-girlfriend from Abigail Thorne. Subscribing to Nebula is not just a way for you to access premium ad-free exclusive content, but it's also an act of support for creators like me. And I'm sick. So do with that information what you will. Your support really does mean a lot to me and really does help me out. So to those of you who are already subscribers on Nebula, I just want to say a genuine thank you. And here's a mystery that you don't need to solve. how to get access to Nebula at a discount. Use the link nebula.tv/nerdsync or click on the link in the description to get an annual Nebula subscription for just $36 a year or $3 per month. So head on over to nebula.tv/nerdsync right now. You can also get month-to-month plans for just $6 a month. And there's so much content every day. And for those of you who want to share everything Nebula has to offer with friends or family, Nebula is now offering annual gift cards. Use the link gift.nebula.tv/nerdsync to give a year of Nebula to a friend for just $30. So once again, that's nebula.tv/nerdsync, or use the link below to get your annual Nebula plan for just $3 a month. Or if you're a charitable type, give Nebula to your friends and family by going to gift.nebula.tv/nerdsync to give someone close to you a year of Nebula for just $30. Watch exclusive videos, originals, and classes while supporting creators like me, including literally me. I might look like I'm a little sweating right now, but I'm so cold. I've got the chills, and I hope they aren't multiplying.
This has been great. But
was this good?
Where can all the people find you?
On this, you can find me on this exact channel, but where can people find you?
Hi, I'm Phil. I don't know when this is airing, but I have an Elden Ring YouTube channel where I play Elden Ring, and I have a Dungeons and Dragons YouTube channel where I'm going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons. Dang. And I might have a Magic the Gathering channel where I talk about Magic the Gathering.
What's it like having so many channels? That's cool.
We can talk about this later, but it's kind of a move I'm doing. Tulok Mango or Tulok the Barbarian on YouTube. Those are the places to go to find
links below in the description and the comments. Thank you all for letting me present a video this way. It was very fun. I didn't know how else to. I wanted to make a video about this comic book, and I didn't know how else to do it other than just talk to my good friend about it, whose name is Phil, as I have learned today.
You may call me that.